The Overpolemical
Podcast. The Overpolemical
Podcast. The Overpolemical
Podcast. 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys. Hello. On today's episode, we have a new guest, Franek Rogala. Franek Rogala is in the army, but since he can't talk about the army too much because, it's army stuff, we're going to talk about scouts. He was in the scouts for the last, I don't know, how many years of your life?
Damn, it was like 5 years? More. I was in the primary school, so 7, maybe?
7 years of his life, and we're gonna ask him some questions, show you guys how it works here in Poland, and we're also gonna compare it to the Boy Scouts in the States. And I can assure you that it's a huge difference, right, Maciek?
I think so. I mean, I have very little experience with Boy Scouts.
What we know about Boy Scouts in the States is that they sell cookies.
They now accept girls.
Yep. It's so crazy.
It's a little different.
Yeah. So, Franek, how did you get into the Scouts? How did this idea come in?
Actually, it was mostly by accident because the guys from the Scouts Boy came to our school and asked if anyone wants to join us. And like as a joke, someone said, "Oh, maybe let's go there." And I actually came there. And it was fun, and I stayed.
Okay. And you were how old at this time?
I was in the 5th grade.
Okay, so you were a
school.
kid, right?
Yeah.
You're a young kid. Okay, and what did you like the most in the beginning? What did this look like?
It was fun. It was adventures. You could wrestle with other guys, like run, shout.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It was pretty cool.
So you could be a kid. And tell me, okay, now let's move on a couple years forward. I know that you advanced through all the ranks in the Scouts, right?
Yep, and I ended my so-called service, maybe, as a team leader. So it was like 16, maybe 20 kids, which I was taking care of. I was a tutor. And I think it was a great experience because it taught me how to deal with some problems, like adult problems, like how to fill the invoice, that kind of stuff.
Okay, and how did this transfer on to your military service now?
There was couple of abilities which I learned, a couple of skills I learned in Scouts Boy, like how to start a fire, how to navigate. But also, when I was a team leader in Scouts Boy, it was also about raising the kids, right, in the proper way. So it helped me, for example, in my military experience, when I had to take care of freshmen. I had to there was a law that you had to do something better than others. Like if you expect someone to do 20 push-ups, like in the Scout Boy, if you expect someone to do 20 push-ups or go to the church or attend something, you have to do it better. Like you have to give your own example, right? And it was really helpful in the military because it automatically gave you the respect of the guys. You were in charge of.
Okay, and now maybe going back to the Scouts a little, can you tell us what the scouting organizations look like here in Poland? Is it one big organization? Is there a couple different ones? What are the rules? What are the differences? Like, if you had to sum up Scouts in a couple sentences, what would you say?
First of all, there are a couple of different organizations in Poland. There is Scouts of Europe, there is ZHR, there is ZHP, and the biggest difference is the Scouts of Europe are the most Christian, I guess. And the ZHR divided from the ZHP in 1989 because the ZHP was then a bit run by the communists. So
Communists, okay.
Communists, yeah.
So is the scouting directly connected with the church here in Poland, or not really? Because you said they're more Christian.
Yep. It's ZHP is not very into church. I guess, I'm not sure because I wasn't in ZHP. It's doesn't care about the church. It's not connected very much. But in ZHR, there is like church. It's present. You come to the masses sometimes, and you invite people from the church to join the Scouts. And the Scouts of Europe are even more.
So are they like crazy, like the Scouts?
No, I wouldn't say so, but I think that the ZHR is like something in between.
Ground.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not going too much into.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so
it's yeah, but it is said that the Scouts, like the tutor in Scouts Boy, have to be Christian.
Oh, it said that.
Yeah,
like,
it's written.
In both ZHR and ZHR?
No, in ZHR. In ZHR.
Okay.
Okay. And so what rules do you guys have? Because let's just talk about ZHR because that's what you know and that's where
Yeah.
you're from. So what are like the rules? Like I know that you can't drink and smoke, things like that.
Yep. But there are much more. There are like 10 laws which every scout ought to obey. And yeah, the law which causes the most problems is that you actually can't drink, can't smoke.
In Poland especially.
Yeah,
That's
it's very hard. And I think it's like there's a bit too much accent on this law, this special law, because there are like much more laws in Scouts Boy, as you have to act like a knight. You have to, if you give someone a word, your word, you have to like obey it.
Mm-hmm.
If you say something, you have to do it. And I think it's and that's it.
Okay, so there's like there are like more like guidelines how you
Yeah,
should live your
yeah.
life, and they're not like strict rules. Okay, and so how does scouting function in the city? Like, what do you guys do when you're not when you're on camp? Because we're gonna talk about that later, maybe.
Yeah, there are like plenty of stuff to do because a team leader can imagine like you have really many possibilities in a big city like Warsaw. You can go somewhere like where you've never been, to the park, to the woods, to some abandoned building. Go visit a museum, which is really interesting because, like, not from school. Come on, kids, let's see some boring paintings and get bored to death. But let's go see the Warsaw Uprising Museum or something like this, or let's see the metro or. And there's plenty of like city games, so you have to for example find a building. You are given a photo of some fragment of a building and you have to find this building, and near this building there will be some clue which will lead you to another place. Or you have to navigate the city. You have to get from a place to a place with by bus or by train.
And is there much focus, because I know the Scouts in Poland had a big historical role, like in history, in the Warsaw Uprising? Is that something that you guys focus on? Is that important?
Yeah, it's I can divide from the perspective of a kid, which is like all about fun, running, shouting, and that kind of stuff, and from a perspective of a tutor, which is more focused on raising the kids, but not like it is done in schools, because in school it's a very unnatural behavior for a kid, for 10 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old kid to sit down in a special place in a desk and do listen all the time. It's pointless because you, as you know, you'll forget.
Yeah, of course, we all went to school.
Yeah.
We know what
But
it was.
I mean, as far as that goes, I went to a different school. When I was in elementary school, I didn't go to it was a normal public school, but I went to a Montessori school where you learn by playing, and there's just
You didn't sit at desks?
No, I mean
That's great.
We had
That's actually cool.
We had desks, but it was more like a general area, and you had a certain amount of things that you had to do. You had all the subjects. You had math and science and all this, but you were given time to do it yourself, and all of the things in the classroom were things that helped you learn. It was all books and interesting math games. I remember even when we were in kindergarten, we had these big piece of paper where you would cut out the shapes of
Well,
continents. And
that's really cool. That's actually that's awesome.
And that's the point. That's how it ought to be.
Yeah,
and it happens in the scouting. So you raise the kid with the good values, but you show it with good tools, with fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And also, according to the subject of learning in school, that kind of stuff, Radek Kotarski, this YouTuber, recently published a book all about this learning, the easier mnemotechniques, which is great.
I have to elaborate on that because I've known Franek for a while. You used to have this thing that you would look for different methods on how to learn something faster, remember something like that.
And it was.
Did you get this from scouting, or did you implement this into scouting?
No, but I used it in the military. There is like.
Can you tell us about these techniques? What is this about, really quickly?
It's all about like mixing stuff. If you see something, you have to, for example, you remember better the feelings, that kind of stuff. And those techniques are all about using your brain possibilities. No,
the possibilities. Of your brain,
possibilities of your brain, right? So it's really cool because if you there was a study that if you read something twice, you remember like after a couple of days in a test you'll get the same results. If you it won't matter if you read it twice, 4 times, 6 times, 7 times, that kind of stuff. So repeatedly seeing something doesn't make you remember.
Okay, so what did you do to remember better?
For example, there is something called Palace of Memory. So you imagine a certain room, right? And you place the pieces of knowledge in certain places. Like you put some, like you do it in your brain, right? So you put some piece of information in a desk, on the shelf, that kind of stuff. And then you in your mind walk around this and what was on the shelf? This piece of information. So you recall it.
That's amazing because there's actually
really cool.
I'm currently studying for pharmacology, and it's a horrible subject with a bunch of shit to learn. And a very common resource that people use is these videos that show a room, and for example, we're talking about this kind of drug, and it cures cancer, and then you have this big. It's a room usually, or a building or something, and there's different, like some red dot in the upper right hand corner, or a star, or a hippo, or something, and this is exactly what you're talking about. So it's very interesting that there's actually like a.
And
there's also evidence of how it works, right?
And did it work for you?
Yep, it worked like most guys, because there was we didn't learn something properly, and we were asked if we know the laws of engagement.
You're
right?
talking about the military right now, okay.
The laws of engagement, right? When you can use the weapon.
When you can buy the ring, kneel, will you marry me?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And when can you use the weapon? And we didn't learn it, and we were on a service, so we had to learn it pretty quickly because we would have consequences. So I learned it in like maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, and it is like plenty of text, right? And you have to learn it by heart. So most guys were quite shocked that I did it.
Wow. Okay. So that's a cool thing. That's actually a really cool topic, and that'd be awesome to talk about it. So Maciek, you said that you use this too. You use it in a form of video.
There's a video, and basically it's like a scene. Like they describe what's going on. It's like 10 minutes. Yes. So we have. Okay, so we are at the bakery, and bakery will help you remember that it's caused by eating too much bread. I'm making this up. Okay. Like there's
and it's best if you do it on your own. Like
if you make your own. Yes. Okay.
It's best because like you have to make your brain work, right? And also there is like plenty of techniques. I guess in his book he mentions like 13 or so.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
And this one was your favorite one with the room, right?
I'm in the half of this book because I learned it a bit earlier, and now I bought this book and like.
Oh, and you're reading it again. Okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool, and it's good because it's not like self-improvement, that kind of
coaching bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like supported by studies.
Okay, that's a cool topic.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
That's actually really cool for like if you're thinking about like child development, when you teach kids how to learn, because you have all these kids that like we tutor kids sometimes, and they're stupid. Like they're so overstimulated by like tablets and just watching
video games. They don't keep information.
But it's hard to engage them, like to make them think and actively learn.
Yeah, exactly. And could you say the name of the book for our listeners, maybe to check it out if you remember it?
Włam do umysłu.
Okay, so break into your own mind, pretty much.
Yeah.
And what about the author? Is it a Polish author?
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
Polish
it's the
author.
Kotarski guy, right?
Kotarski, yeah.
Okay. So I think there must be a book like that in English, so we'll search for something like that.
Most studies which is based on or
On English. Okay.
Probably that's where they get.
And now going back to the Scouts.
Yeah, I have a question about
Okay.
the Scouts. Do you think that? I think it used to be a bigger thing. Like there used to be more kids involved in Scouts.
I
or?
guess so, but I'm not pretty sure. Like, I guess that maybe during the communism it was some kind of
It was
rebel.
enforced, yes, yeah.
But it was forced on one hand, but on the other hand, it was like some kind of rebel.
Resistance?
Yeah, resistance.
Okay. So, because I'm curious, because right now in Poland, and I think in many countries, you have these crazy parents that sign their kids up for taekwondo, football, English, Spanish, Chinese,
Swimming.
and violin, swimming, and
Yeah.
these kids don't have. And I feel like with something like scouting, you have all of these things where you're learning and you're playing and you're learning these important life lessons in one place, really, because you have there's so much you can do.
There is like there are those badges, right? In English, in American Scouting,
you
it's earn the badges, and I think it's a good way of development, right? Because there's whole spectrum of the things which we can do.
Okay, can you tell us about some cool badges that you got? Because I know you did some cool things. Like I have to ask about one, the one that you can't talk for 3 days or something like that.
Yeah, but this one I didn't get.
Okay.
I didn't get because it's
I wonder why.
I don't know. I don't have idea. Because there are like it's called free feathers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for one day you can't eat. For one day you can't talk, and for one day you have to go to the woods and no one can see you. And you have to.
This is really cool things that like teach like self-control. Like people have problems. They eat a lot of junk food. They keep on talking. They keep on listening to music. I think this is like really cool overall, just to learn how to control yourself. So today I can't talk. Okay, but did you try it at least?
Yeah, I tried it, but I got misled by a friend, like by our superior,
my best friend.
of course, that we can drink milk, and actually this whole thing is that you can't drink milk because it's basically a bit cheating, right?
Okay, so can you drink water?
Yeah, you can drink water, but not too much, like not too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think it's but I did starve for a couple of days, but in the military.
What badges did you get? Some cool ones, maybe.
There was something called Dromader, which you have to march for 100 kilometers in 24 hours. Actually, on the team of Team Zbroja Facebook profile, you can find the Endomondo, but it's not mine, but someone did the same badge, and you can find the Endomondo like.
So the map and
how long? Like the 100 kilometers.
And did you do it?
Yeah, I did.
Where did you walk?
In
that's a lot.
Actually, it's not that lot. If you go to the Campinos from one end to another,
That's a forest by Warsaw, for those that don't know.
Yeah, and if you go back and forth from one end to another, it's actually about 100 kilometers. Recently, with our friend Bartek, we went for like 60 kilometers.
Okay, and tell me, how long did it take? Did you actually walk 24, or did it take you shorter, maybe?
A bit shorter, but it was like on the edge.
Okay, and was it? I suppose it was exhausting, right?
Yeah, it was exhausting.
But you could eat, drink, you could do.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can jerk off.
You can
jerk off.
Maybe not.
Just get some adrenaline going.
Let's go. Okay.
Increase testosterone.
And how do you remember anything from this walk?
Nothing.
Like,
It was so traumatic that he's forgotten everything.
Yeah, like only my footsteps and marching and marching. No, I remember the
Did
mosquitoes.
you do it alone?
No, I did it. We started 3 of us, but we ended only 2 of us.
Why did
They ate the third one. The third one was eaten halfway.
Yeah, because we didn't take any snacks.
They all started jerking off, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta eat this guy," and so they ate him.
Yeah, that was all about it. Like we actually that was another batch to like cook.
Jerking off and cannibalism.
Yeah, you have to cook your friend.
Okay, but
you have to start a fire first of all. No, the thing I remember most is the mosquitoes because we did it in June, I guess, and it was plenty of mosquitoes, and it was so annoying. Like it was the thing which was breaking the mind the most.
Yeah, that has to actually.
That's interesting. That's like you're walking 100 kilometers. You wouldn't think that the mosquitoes would be the worst.
Yeah, but there were like shitloads of them. I was in French Guiana. In the jungle.
Oh yeah, because this is what you guys have to know. I think Franek can talk a little about this. He was on this exchange program. He was in France in the military for I think half a year, 6 months. They got to go to South America to the French Guiana in the jungle. So he did really some awesome shit through the army. So maybe you can talk a little about that.
Yeah, I think that about that I can easily talk.
So you can tell us about French Guiana, because I think people know something about France, but then again, not a lot of people have been to South America. I think that's an awesome experience that you have. So maybe you can tell us a little about how the country works. I don't know what you remember.
For example, I have a question. Is it true that you know how we have the Swiss Army knife, like the Is it true that the French Army knife is just a bunch of wine bottle openers and then a white flag?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
No, but actually, I thought the guys would be like overly politically correct, right? And actually, that wasn't true. I guess those guys were like in the military. I think that they are similarly crazy to us. Here in Poland. Yeah.
The military guys are similar.
Similar.
What about Americans? Because I know you had some Americans there.
I had a friend in my platoon, which was a great guy. I really liked him. But then there was another guy in Bartek's platoon, because I went to France with my friend from high school, from the same class. You, Victor, know him.
Yeah, I know him.
And in his platoon, there was another American, which I guess wasn't that strong, I don't want to elaborate too much about him, but he was from Texas, and if you hear Texas, you see a badass.
You think Clint Eastwood or Chuck Norris?
That kind of people. And this guy wasn't that tough.
Oh, okay. So,
but this other guy, Wilburn, my friend, he was a good guy.
Because there's this whole perception of the American military that they're the toughest and stuff like that. Do you find this is maybe not exactly true?
It's natural that they say that their military is the toughest, and of course they have plenty of cash, which implies that they have the best weapons and that kind of stuff. Of course. But like in the movies, you can see that the American soldiers are so awesome, amazing. Yeah. But it's natural that they show it that way. It's propaganda, and it works everywhere. Here in Poland, of course.
Too. Okay.
But here in Poland, from what I've heard, I mean, I recently visited the Warsaw Uprising Museum, and they had a special part of the museum was reserved for GROM, where they describe the special forces, because I've heard that Polish special forces are actually quite elite compared to
they are quite elite compared to the whole world, actually.
Yeah. So
GROM, it's like one of the highest.
Yeah,
best.
top 5, top 10. I mean, I don't know if these internet sites are
that kind of numbers.
So
but they're really great.
Okay, so going back to South America, can you tell us a little about the country? Even in the non-military aspect, if you can't talk about that, but just overall, because that's a really cool experience.
It was quite shocking when you drive
how did you get there?
By plane.
Okay, was it like a military?
I wasn't canoeing there.
Swim across. They have
24 hours.
You got a badge. You could, swim across the Atlantic.
I made a special tattoo with this badge.
But did you go by military plane or civil plane? How did you get there?
Civil plane, but owned by the military. Okay. I wasn't flying.
So you were flying like an old bomber plane with no heating. You're in.
It wasn't like this.
Okay. So you got there by plane, and then what happened?
Then we went from the
From the airport?
Yeah, no, not from the airport, from the plane. We not entered, but
parachuted?
No,
exited the plane.
Oh, you went off the plane? Okay.
Yeah, we went off the plane, and I told Bartek, God damn it, it's so hot in here. And he replied, yeah, because we are near the engine, right? Then we went forward, and it was even worse.
So how many degrees was it in centigrade?
Christ, I don't remember. It's like maybe 40, 30.
In the 40s? Okay.
Yeah, but it was the worst thing. It was the humidity.
Yeah.
The humidity was the like.
Because the country is mostly covered by jungle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the beaches? Because when I think South America, I think like beautiful beaches.
We didn't see it. We didn't
you
see
didn't
it.
get to see it?
Yeah, with only beaches we could see.
Bitches. We saw some bitches.
Yeah, were the rivers side.
Oh,
the sides of the river.
in the jungle.
Yeah, but I think Bartek saw it, but I didn't see it.
Okay.
I don't recall it.
Okay, and what was this experience in the jungle? Because that's something that not a lot of people can get. Like,
It was.
did you have like fucking snakes everywhere? And
Yeah, there were some snakes. A friend of mine like woke up with a snake in his hammock. He felt something warm on his stomach and he threw it away. And on the ground he saw a snake like crawling somewhere.
how did you guys sleep?
There was like you had to build a roof with a poncho.
Okay,
You got a poncho. You build a roof. You had one hammock for your gear and one hammock for yourself. And you had to put some sticks, like stick it to the ground. Stick the sticks to the ground, and you had to put your shoes on it so as no scorpion,
so you won't have
scorpion or
anything in
snake
the
will
shoes.
crawl. Yeah.
Did you see any scorpions? Maybe.
Scorpions I didn't see. I saw snakes.
What
Actually,
about spiders? What about some huge, like?
One bit me and I got like a huge inflammation, so
Seriously?
I looked like a puppet.
Oh my god! Seriously?
Yeah.
But
it wasn't like very painful. I think that was zakażenie.
So
Infection. Yeah.
So
Okay.
did you have to get anything because French Guiana is so much different than Poland? Did you have to get like vaccinated before?
Yep.
Were you given
Yep.
any-
Before, even before we went to France, we got vaccinated because we knew that we were going to French Guiana, and yeah.
Okay. And how long were you there?
10 days.
10 days. And you lived in the jungle for like 10 days. That's
Yeah,
all you
like
guys
you get there, you spend like 1 day to accommodate to the temperature, humidity, and that kind of stuff. Then you go to the garrison.
wow, that's some French words.
Yeah.
To the
Garrison, I guess. And then you go to the jungle, like to the. Yep. And then you stay.
And then
there.
you had training there.
Yeah, you
stuff
had
like that.
training. Like you were wet all the time. Because like when you put on the uniform, it's in the morning. It was already wet because we didn't have time to dry. Then you went to the formation, and at the formation you, for example, had to go to the water, and you had to make the water over your head, like you.
You had to dive under the water.
Yeah.
Okay. And was this water like mud? Was it dirty?
Yeah, it was muddy. It was dirty.
Okay. What did you guys eat?
We ate MREs. Like the
MRIs,
MREs,
the military emergency, something like that. Those packs.
But the French.
I heard that you guys went on a hunting trip once. Is that true?
Yeah, it was like for 3 days we had to survive. Like you went to the woods with your platoon and you didn't get anything. Like even the shoelaces you got.
You had to remove that,
yeah,
so you don't hang yourself.
Yeah. So they took our shoelaces, and then we had to make it from the lianas and that kind of stuff.
Okay, and did you actually like hunt, or what did you eat?
It was divided. Some people went hunting, some people went fishing, some people went
Scavenging, like the
actually, like the small crabs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing, there's this fish in the Amazon, and I think I'm just gonna tell them really quickly what I'm talking about. It's a fish that swims up your dick, sticks in there, and then you have to get your dick amputated because it can't be taken out.
Because the way it works is it follows the urine where it's warm water and it will go upstream, and even if you're not peeing in the water, like even if you're above water, it could still
Seriously?
Supposedly, I don't know if this is true.
Did anyone encounter that fish, or did you guys?
No,
did you think about it though?
We thought about it. Like we were standing like
waist deep in the water.
Waist deep in the water, and we had like talks about it. Hey, dude, do you think that those fishes live here? I'm not sure. Fuck, I'm not going to peace here.
Okay, what about alligators, crocodiles? Did you
We
have that?
ate it. We ate.
What? You ate an alligator?
Not
Or a
alligator,
crocodile?
but
Oh, the
Caiman?
the caiman.
Did you like catch it? Did you jump like
They
Steve Irwin?
taught us how to catch it,
How
but
do you
we
catch
didn't
it?
encounter
Okay,
it.
how do you
like
catch
with a
it?
spear.
Oh, we'll teach you how to catch it. You take a spear.
You kill
Stick
it.
it in.
Okay. And is it tasty?
Yeah, it
Tastes like
tastes like chicken. Exactly, it tastes like chicken.
I
The
think it
meat was
tastes like
quite
chicken.
white and yeah.
Okay. And did you cook it over a fire?
Yeah, but we didn't cook it by ourselves.
Oh,
there was
someone cooked it for you.
yeah, there was an instructor who taught like before this survival trip,
Mm-hmm.
this survival 3 days. He showed us how to like cook the stuff, which plants are edible, edible,
Yeah, edible.
and yeah.
And so
That's
what did you eat besides Cayman when you were there?
Like
plants?
no, for the when we were on this 3 days trip, we mostly starved.
Okay,
Which
so-
sucked. But we caught a fish.
That's awesome.
But actually, it's a great experience if you like see how people act when they are hungry, like how the nerves like are stretched, like when you're
aggravated.
Yeah.
We encounter Victor when he's hungry. Which is
Yeah,
like,
I get that, and I'm not hungry for 2 days. I'm hungry for an hour. Another thing that I have a question, because France, Guyana, a topic that I would like to ask about is the Foreign Legion. Because did you guys meet anyone from the Foreign Legion there?
Of course, all of the instructors were
In Guyana, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and because
yeah, but I want to elaborate on this
Okay.
because with Bartek we talked that. Oh, it would be great if the like baddest motherfucker of the whole French Legion, like maybe not the whole of the guys we will meet, would be Polish, right? So we have the like not formation, but the guy, the instructor,
like your leader.
yeah, the instructor introduces themselves, and one of them, like the guy 2 meters high, 2 meters wide, says, "I'm sorry guys, but I can sometimes make mistakes in French because I'm from Poland."
Oh, okay. So
Like
you
the
met some
bald
Polish
guy.
people. Did you get to talk to him?
Yeah,
Can you
it
tell
was-
us? I don't know if you can.
He
but
was from Łódź.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
okay,
so
we
that-
get that.
That's all you have to say.
How did he get there though? Was he? Because I know that the Foreign Legion nowadays, it's not like people used to go there that they're convicts and they would just run
No,
away.
no.
It's different now,
Yeah,
right?
it used to be like this. Also, in the like just after the war, there was plenty of Nazis there because they knew how to
Oh,
fight
okay.
and that kind of stuff.
Even the Nazis were
Yep.
cleaned from everything. Okay,
Like
wow.
maybe not cleaned, but they are just they
They-
were used. But also the American government also used the
Oh, yeah.
scientists.
Yeah, we get that. What about so they're just like mercenaries, right?
Yeah.
They just get paid to fight.
Yeah, actually yes.
Okay. And what language did you speak there? Was it all French or maybe
it was
English?
all French. All French. Sometimes I had to ask my colleagues from the platoon what to do. But most of the time, if you see someone doing push-ups, you follow their lead. And after a while, you get to know that sakado adom and
Okay.
put your backpack on your bike and run forward.
Okay.
And vit, it was faster.
So you learned the basics.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
But
Okay.
actually, when I was in France,
Yeah. Let's move back to France. I want to hear something about that. What did that look like?
it was in the middle of nowhere because our school is in Wrocław, so it's a big city, right? So you can go for clubs, like you have plenty of stuff to do.
you have-
And there it was like maybe Lidl and that's it.
That's just like a store like Walmart
Yeah.
in the States. And that's it. Oh, so what did you do? Like you had normal classes, you had
Yeah, we
training
had
or
normal
stuff like
classes, training, PT. PT was fun.
And what else? That's it? What would you do after?
First of all, the thing I remember most was food, because food was great there.
Was it like classic French food, like the baguettes and
Yeah, and for the
snails?
breakfast, for the breakfast there was baguettes, but it was very tasty, and it was a bit differently organized than in Poland, because the lunch they had for free. I guess the breakfast also, but the supper they had to pay for it.
Okay. now I want to, you can talk about this for sure. I know that when you were there, you got to see Europe a little. You went on a hitchhiking trip. You went, like, where did you go? Can you tell us about that? This is like, apart from the military, you had a time off and you just went.
Yeah.
So where did you go?
It was quite funny because there was a guy from Colombia in France also in the school, and he paid like 80 euros, I guess, for a train to get from this Saint-Cyr to Paris, right? Mm-hmm. And we paid like 69 euros to get from school to Rennes, from Rennes to Paris, from Paris to Barcelona, from Barcelona to Porto, from Porto to... No, we didn't go there. But we went to Marseille.
Oh, and, okay.
Yeah, to the south of France in general. Then back to Paris and then back to school.
For 69 euros?
Yeah, something like that.
How did you travel? Hitchhiking?
No, partly hitchhiking because this school was in Gare, which is close to Rennes, which is not a...
It's a pretty big city. Yeah, it's knowable, yeah.
Yeah. And we hitchhiked there. Then from Rennes we got a bus. It was mega bus, and it costed like 5 euros. It was insane hours, right? Because it was like, I don't know, 24...
midnight.
Midnight or 1 a.m.
Okay.
But you get to go from Rennes to
Paris for 5 euros?
Yeah, for 5 euros, which is...
And how many days did you travel? Because it sounds like you traveled a long time.
It was like, I remember that 2 days maybe in...
You did all those cities in 2 days?
No, 2 days in Barcelona, then like 1 day at each place.
Oh, okay. So it was like around a week, probably.
Yeah.
And how was that experience? Was it fun?
Yeah, it was pretty much fun. Sightseeing is best if you get a bottle of wine and walk around like...
And a friend. And what city did you like the most?
I guess Barcelona.
Barcelona?
Yeah. Okay. And this summer I went there also, and it was...
So it's a place that
it's a place I recommend.
Okay, yeah. So if you ever want to take a trip around Europe, Barcelona is the place to go.
Of course, Warsaw is much better. But.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially in the winter.
Do you have any more questions, or do you want to... I have a couple more questions about scouting, because we went...
we went off the topic.
Yeah. We talked about scouting in the city, what it looks like, where it's from, and I have one strictly historical question that I want to ask you, and then I have a couple more questions about how the scouting works. So maybe you have anything, because I have to check this, because I don't want to say something stupid. Okay, I got it here. In England, scouting was founded by Robert Baden-Powell.
Yep.
In the U.S., it was Ernest Thompson Seton, and in Poland, it was Andrzej Małkowski. And I have a question. From your knowledge, is scouting in all these different countries different, or is it like similar in the way that you want to raise these kids, or is it totally not connected anymore, or was this just like an idea?
I guess it's connected. Like the idea is pretty much connected. We all refer to Robert Baden-Powell, right?
So he's like the founder of scouting worldwide. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you refer to him in, like you said, these 10 rules that you have? Are those strictly from him?
No, they are not strictly from him because there's na słowie harcerza polega jak na zawiszy, right? So it's like reference to
count Polish. On the word of we get it.
It refers to a famous Polish historical figure.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like basically the idea of raising the children that way, and I think that it's connected. It's connected pretty much.
But
not everyone have to obey the same rules. But it's good to meet and exchange experiences, right?
Oh, do you do that? Did you ever get to meet any scouts from different countries?
Sometimes there are like meetings of the...
Did you ever go to this?
I don't recall.
I remember because we had a big scouting, like there's a Polish scouting, but it's ZHP in the US where there's Polish, what are they?
Scouts?
Divisions, yeah.
Oh,
there's Polish scouts, and they have
teams. I think they're scouting teams.
Yeah, an international, like they call it a zlot, which is all over the world, and
like a meeting, places. And everyone comes.
Yeah, and they all come. It's like a big camp in the middle of the forest somewhere.
Okay.
Colorado
and speaking about
Australia
camps, let's talk about the camps, how it looks like here in Poland. Where do you guys go? Because I had the pleasure to go to one camp with Franek, and I had some amazing experiences. We went hitchhiking. We hitchhiked to the seaside, slept on the beach. We did all really cool stuff. Swam across the lake. I don't know if you remember. I got to do a lot of cool things involved with cooking, cleaning. You just learn a lot of cool things.
Victor loved cooking.
I felt like a woman.
What he remembered most was the cooking and the cleaning.
And you've been on way more camps. You've been in different positions. So maybe you can tell our listeners what this looks like. Like, I know that you guys build your whole camp. So just start talking.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
go.
So on this subject, I can talk for quite a while. It's good because like you get to learn, teach the kids like the pretty useful stuff, and also to cope with problems, right? For example, you give a guy, for example, he's in the second class of gymnasium, the middle school, right? And he has to go to the bakery or go to the pizza's place and ask if you can have an invoice, right? So he has to organize a meal for 20 people or so, right? So it's teaching him how to cope with problems. And also, for example, for the kids, like nowadays, not many kids get to make their own bed, right? Like to build it, work with the tools,
We don't have those skills nowadays.
Yeah,
no, we lose them because like kids, especially, I think that's important for boys. Boys don't have this manual like you have boys who can't do anything with a computer, with a car, with any, like if something breaks, they
just throw it away and buy something new, right? So it's good because you teach how to like use a hammer, how to use a saw, and how to, for example, on this kids level, like the lowest, the private maybe, how to military language. He learns how to like saw something, like how to
put a nail,
and also the second level is that the corporal, I guess, maybe has to teach the other kids, like has to plan this whole thing, so whole tent, right?
So you have a tent, and then on the inside you can do what you want, right?
Yeah,
you have to build something.
And it's like there's a competition between the not teams, because team is like the biggest unit,
but like
not the biggest
units, like the tents overall.
The tents, the tents. So there's competition between them. Which tent makes the biggest pionierka, because it's called pionierka, the best, the most fancy one, like where you can have a hammock or the sofa or.
So you can like really just do what you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do what you want
and after you build that, like the camp commences, right? You continue.
And also according to this, the team leaders and his like helpers, his cadra.
I don't know, the staff of the camp.
The camp staff builds, for example, something called kurnik, right? So it's
that's like a two-level main tent.
Two-level main tent, right?
Okay. So you like build ladders, you build everything.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I know it looks cool because I saw it live, and people do really amazing things. Like you put a tent like 3 meters off the ground, and it has 2 floors below it.
Yeah.
Like you can do everything.
It's useful. It's teaching.
It's
kids,
cool skills.
It's teaching kids how to really be what kids used to be, where you would have to make these things up and come up with games and toys, and you didn't have Xbox. And Pokemon Go.
Yeah, and also there is sometimes, for example, you have to decipher something, right? So there are games which you have which involve your brain, right? So decrypt, like you have to
decrypt codes, things like
decrypt codes, that kind of stuff.
So what does like a normal day on this camp look like?
It depends, because you have like there's some events which are every year, like rides. So you go from you pack a backpack, right, and you go for 3 days or so.
You just walk.
Not only walk, but you walk from some place to another. You go to the by bus. You go, I don't know, for a bicycle trip, for a
so you just have to go away from the camp.
Yeah, you go away from the camp and you visit some cool places. I remember that one of the best rides I ever was a part of. It was in Borne Sulinovo, which is forgotten. Like there used to be Russians in Poland, right? Free country. So the units of Russian army during communism were there, and they moved, and the
So it's
whole
like a
building's
forgotten
like
city.
it's a forgotten city, right? So it's quite
That's cool.
interesting.
And what about like a normal day when you don't go to anywhere, you just stay in camp?
So there are like
What time do you wake up? I know you wake up early.
Christ, it was like 6, 7.
Okay,
I'm
so
not
you wake
sure.
up early.
Yeah,
And
you wake
what
up
happens then?
early. I remember that we had a horn, right? So the staff like blew the horn and woke everyone up. You had a couple seconds to stand in front of the tent, right? So it was that everyone is awake. Then you had a couple minutes to put your uniform on or to put first you had to run for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a warm-up. It's similar to the military, right? So you put on the uniform, and then you went for the breakfast, and then you had like some sort of a game. And independent, it could be like mixed with other teams, right? So for example, with the girls or with the with the other scout
Other
boys.
genders.
Yeah, other genders.
You have the
Gender fluid.
Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and then the gender fluid Scouts. Mostly like painting their nails and complaining about how bad life is.
No, it was about beating them up.
Okay, that's not politically correct on this
The Girl
podcast.
Scouts and the Boy Scouts would go over and beat up the gender fluid Scouts once in a while.
Yeah.
Beat the gender fluidity out of them.
Okay. Yeah.
So
And
okay. Don't listen to that, guys.
No,
That's not true. And then you would, of course, you had 3 meals, right? You had dinner, then you
Yeah.
had something else. So most of you just had activities, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
and
you
you
were never
guys,
bored
you
of it.
also went for a one-day survival hatki. It was called hatki. So you had to like build your own shelter, start a fire. Maybe sometimes catch a fish. But you got to cook something. You got flour. You got, I guess, butter. And maybe an egg or something like that.
Yeah,
And
I
you had-
think that's all you got. Because I went on that too, and I remember mosquitoes. I couldn't sleep for the whole night because of the fucking mosquitoes. It was something horrible.
Yep.
So yeah, mosquitoes are a big problem here in the
Yeah.
forest. Because
Everywhere, I think.
I heard that this is due to all those I don't want to say something wrong, but I think it's due to all these like Greenpeace freaks, stuff like that they want to save the forests, and they don't want people to drop people, especially no, it's not the Nazis, not the aliens, not the Illuminati. That's not what I'm trying to say, because they're making fun of me and making weird gestures. But I wanted to say that it's due to the fact that they stopped like dropping chemicals on the forests, because they would normally do that to kill all that shit, and you didn't have them. But now it's due to all those like biology.
I think I'd rather get bitten by mosquitoes than sprayed by chemicals by some asshole.
Yeah, of course, but I'm just saying what it's due to. I'm not saying if it's better or not.
Perhaps,
I think
but-
it's the same thing with ticks. We have problems with ticks now in Poland.
The problem with ticks and mosquitoes is because Poland's climate is getting warmer. Generally, the ticks and the mosquitoes die off when you have
Global warming.
when you have very cold winters. Usually, we used to have colder winters.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
guys, now it's December. It's 10 degrees centigrade, which is like 45 Fahrenheit. There's no snow. It's warm. I could practically
people are
walk
running
around.
around naked. It's out of control. We need help. Send help, please. We need like rations and care packages.
We need more vodka.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
But I think that from what I heard, it's you're either choosing to spray chemicals all over you or be bitten by mosquitoes. I don't know what I'd prefer.
yeah. So overall, scouting is a really cool experience, I guess.
Yep.
I'm just gonna like totally.
Could just ignore me. Yeah. Forget it. Doesn't matter.
No, because
Speaking of mosquitoes, scouting is a really cool experience.
because we're nearing the end.
If you're having kids, you should definitely make them scouts.
Yeah, but summing up, Franek, would you like
but
to?
actually,
Okay.
not make your children.
Don't
go
make
to the-
children.
Make children.
Make children, yeah, and but don't you can't make your child go to the
Of
scout
course.
boy, but it's better if it's his her own choice, right? Because I remember that my mom tried to persuade me to go to join the
Scouts.
scouts, and I didn't want, and I didn't go there at all. But then, by accident, I went there and it was.
I think
great
that's
experience.
true in all like parts of life. Like the kid has to find its own way somehow. You can help them, but you can't make them.
Yeah, but like you can expose them. You could be like, okay, I'll take you to one. If you like it, you like it. If not,
Yeah.
it's fine. I mean,
I think that's a big problem
But-
nowadays that
but I
kids are
think-
made to do something.
I think,
Yep.
but I think an important thing is also if a child commits to something like, okay, I want to be in Boy Scouts, then make them commit like at least for some time, not like, oh, I'm gonna do this for one day, because I've talked to kids who are like, oh, I did taekwondo, but I quit after 2 days, and I played soccer for 3 weeks, and then I quit, and like that's not
That's
good
pointless.
either.
You have to
yeah.
stick to something.
At least try.
So I think we're gonna have to wrap up
Give it a try.
slowly.
Walk for 100 kilometers and see. Maybe
24
you'll like
hours.
it. Maybe you like it.
I think we're gonna have you back. We're gonna have you back on the
Yes,
podcast for sure
absolutely.
because there's lots of cool things that you can tell us. We didn't get to elaborate on that too much because we don't have too much time right now. But would you like to sum something up about the Scouts, or you can tell me? You can tell us really quickly. Did it help you to transfer to the military? Did the
Yeah,
Scouts
it
help
was
you?
pretty helpful.
Because
Like some of the skills, like starting fire, but also some of the like
values.
values. Yeah, the values, the mindset, right?
Okay.
So if you like expect someone to do something, you have to do it much better, and it's great.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes
Absolutely.
sense, and that's how we're gonna end today, guys. Thank you, Franek. This was really fun. Actually, this
Yeah,
was
it was a good time.
this was a fun time because we thought we were gonna talk about Scouts, but we talked about almost everything, and
Yeah.
it was fun. Okay, so thank you guys very much, and see you after New Year's because this is gonna be
Yeah.
our last this year podcast, or maybe we're gonna upload it after New Year's if we get too
We'll
drunk.
see.
We'll see. So thank you guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.